In this episode of the Texas Private School Podcast, we recap TAPPS Basketball State, where there was a little bit of controversy towards the end of it. We also give a much needed update on the coaching carousel in TAPPS and the SPC. And finally, we give some insight onto how the three of us would run a private school program. All this and more in the 131st episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. Hello and welcome back to the 131st edition of the Texas Private School Podcast. As always, I'm one-third of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson, calling in from Dallas, Texas, where I think the wind is about to rip the roof off of our abode. Walker Lott calls in from farther south in College Station. Ryan Schroeder from up north of the Red River in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Walker, to you first. How is the wind and storms down there? Because I know here it's literally whipping or it's ripping the roofs off of buildings.
Yeah, it is I'll tell a funny story. So I decided to do a little adulting today and buy some plants for my house or for my apartment. I was like, I need some plants. And so I went to Home Depot and I was leaving Home Depot with my plants on my cart or whatever, and the wind like blew everything out of my cart. I am running by, like, the Home Depot next to the Olive Garden College Station, Wes. I
Yes.
am running while everything's flying to Olive Garden. So imagine me doing that. It was a funny thing, but everything's good. Life's good. But yeah, it went from cold this morning to windy to like being hot, and then now it's straight wind. It's ridiculous, man.
Welcome to Texas. Always a fun time. Not in Texas. Ryan Schroeder. How's the weather up there looking?
No, it's good. It's good. Whether it's the weather or not, I would say the thunder has been picking up. So, we've been getting a little bit of storms around here. Been getting a little bit of some great NBA basketball play around here, I guess, too. Just hit 50 wins on the season last night before anyone in the league has hit 40 wins. Just want to point that out real quick for everyone at home. And even the Mavs fans think they've had a bad month. So, but we can get
That's a
cooking.
cheap shot. You know
Yeah,
that. I don't know
yeah.
No,
if you're
I
a
mean,
big
it's
Mavs
been a
fan.
bad month. It's been a bad month, some would
For
say.
being a kid from Frisco, that's so
It's
disappointing
it,
from
it
you.
it's a
I'm so,
bad it's a
I'm
bad month.
It
Okay,
is
you know
the
what?
worst month any NBA fan has ever had.
All
It
right.
is truly the worst month.
No, it's
I
it's been it's been a thunderous month for us, I'd say.
Yes,
Pretty solid
congratulations.
month.
That's the
But
You're
least subtle thing I've ever heard in my life. That's
you're
that's
what?
awful.
you're gonna
That's
What?
awful.
you're gonna
What?
lose in the playoffs. You're not gonna make the finals. It's just gonna
Oh,
happen. You're too young to make it. It's gonna happen.
no,
Anyways, not the
just an MVP cooking or something.
it's down over in Denver. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Mavs. We're taping it on the day that Kyrie just announced that he tore his ACL. Um, I think we're cursed. I think Nico Harrison cursed us. And then, like you saw today, the 10 plagues have hit Dallas, like the wind and everything. Like the plague, like it's official. Like I think we're cursed. So, Wes, I'm as another Dallasan, like we're have to figure out how do we break the curse. My
Corey
thought. Hmm?
Corey Seager.
No, this all stems back to Josh Hamilton in a way. I don't know how we fix it. And I'm not going to say that we have to sacrifice Josh Hamilton because he gave a lot of good for the city of Dallas.
He did.
But somehow it's rooted in Josh Hamilton and the
Yeah.
debauchery that happened there. I don't know how. I
Right.
just know it is.
I think I'm gonna take a take a I don't know if I'll keep this in, but I'll take a page out of the Game of Thrones book.
One eternity later.
Cut this
No,
out again.
no,
We're
I
gonna have
gotta
to.
take it
We'll
again.
keep it in. We got to bleep
This
the
is
whole
another
thing
clip,
out.
dude. He just clip farming.
But
He's
like
clip farming for no context.
but I think that would be the best way to go about it. I think that's
Yeah.
gonna. I think it will break the curse. But
When I'm the moral compass here, having to say that we've got to cut stuff out, that's how you know that we're developing a problem.
yes, but I think something needs to be done. Let's do this. If anyone in the comments wants to let us know what do the Mavericks have to do to break the curse, that's where I'll leave it because something needs to be done. We don't know what. Uh, it has to be involve something, but I just don't know what. And I think it starts at the top with Nico Harrison, but that's all. I don't know going from there. It's bad news bears. It is truly the worst month ever as a sports fan.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. I don't know what else to
A&M
say.
baseball's in the dumps too. Like everything that
Oh yeah.
revolves around the things that you follow is bad. A&M basketball took a dive. I think they recently, but
Nope.
no,
They lost to Florida,
Florida. Yep.
and now we play #1 Auburn tonight on senior night, so that's fun.
Eesh.
Yeah. Look, I had to like think about it. I had to go from football Cowboys, right? Nextly
And
was
A&M football.
and yeah, basketball Mavericks. Aggies could be good. They're now in the 20s because they can't win against the big games. Baseball, Rangers, maybe. We'll see. We think we could be good this year. We'll see. You never know. Uh, Aggie baseball, I don't really follow it, but like, go Aggies. So I've thought about it. I've moved on. You know, I'm trying to find other sports. Soccer, Arsenal is it's not doing that bad. F1's about to start back up, and I've gotten low key back in the WWE. John Cena now evil. That's
Heel.
crazy.
Yeah.
He's evil. That's 20 years of my life. When I was a kid, I saw John Cena be happy. Now he's evil. That's
You see
sad.
Travis Scott burst Cody Rhodes' eardrum.
Dude, he got slapped.
Anyways, these are my favorite types of episodes where we just open with things completely unrelated to anything TXPS, and it is fantastic. There's something. Oh, what I was gonna say is I want to extend an offer to Ryan, I guess, but Ryan doesn't necessarily need it because he has a very good NBA team to follow. But Walker, to
Mm,
you, who is kind of wandering in the wilderness or floating out in the open ocean with no life preserver to hang on
right,
to in terms of sports, I
right.
offer you a bandwagon into Duke basketball
Oh, I'm
so
there.
that we can root for it together. I don't have any friends that like Duke, so
Dude,
Ryan,
I'm
you can come along as well.
I
But
have a whole you know all the stuff I have. I've
oh,
been to Cameron last year. I have all the Duke gear. I'm low key kind of a Dookie as well,
so
just not to the extent
I'm
that
with
Wes
you.
Tolleson.
I will do whatever it takes to be like I am a Duke Blue Devil fan this year because somehow the Mavericks we're gonna have to tank. We might have to root for Cooper next year. Like this is gonna be how we're gonna do it. Or who's the
Ryan
um
Knuckle,
yeah,
Common
that
Model
he
Watch.
we might have to get him as well. So like we're gonna have to root for some Duke players this year. So I'm all on board.
It'll be a fun time. It's the most fun I've had watching a sport since I can remember because
Well,
Duke is
yeah.
electric. But I will shepherd us along because I think we just spent 10 minutes on random stuff, but
Yep.
that's what we're here for. But as I mentioned off the top, we are going to discuss our escapades at TAPPS State basketball. Walker and I were there with Waverly West on site, which was a fantastic help. Thank you again to Waverly. Sadly, she couldn't make the episode, but we also had Jacob Bermudez and Ryan helping remote. And I just want to, I thank the interns privately, but I want to take another second to say publicly thank you to Jacob and Waverly. The amount of content that we were able to push out because we had them, and then also Ryan kind of acting as like a media coordinator over everything. It's awesome. It's literally turning this thing into a media company. I think it's so, so cool. So thank you to everyone that made that happen.
We got to shout out Waverly too, from the shot that she got at football
Yep.
state of the interception to the shot that she got of the game winner by Bo Ogden. I mean,
Yep.
that was like two of the biggest shots of the year that we needed. So shout out to Waverly. Vertical iPhone is definitely the way as someone who works in social. That is like
Yeah.
it's sick that we've gotten those shots. So
I
big
feel
shout out to
like
her.
I feel like any time that we saw a big play, immediately the three of us went to our group message and texted Waverly get the shot, and then
Yeah.
Waverly
No,
was
yeah,
basically
that's
always like,
exactly
"Yeah,
what
I
it
got the
was.
shot" because she got all the shots.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah.
it was a fun time, but overall, thank you to everyone that we saw there. We got a great opportunity to rub shoulders and say hi to a lot of people that we only interact with on social media. That's why we like getting to go out to these things. It was super super rewarding. Also have to give a big shout out to Jacob Bermudez as an individual. I know we just thanked him as a group, but Jacob, I think he said somewhere in there that he took the TXPS basketball Instagram from like 200 and some odd followers to like 1,200. I mean, the
Yeah.
dedication and the consistency that he's had over the last 5 or 6 months or so has been incredible. Just to see him dive headfirst into it. It's been awesome. We want to say thank you again. We also want to mention that we primarily focus on football on the podcast, which it's not good or bad, but it's just kind of the angle we've slanted towards. And I told everyone at State, the reason why we don't know a whole lot about basketball is because right when we wrap up our football stuff with the award show and everything, it's already like basketball playoffs, basketball state.
Right.
So we're like,
Yeah.
Right.
we'll cover what we can. But we were like, listen, we finally finished all the football stuff. We got a great opportunity to go cover some basketball, and that's what we got to do. So we do want to apologize. We recognize all the sports across all divisions. We're just primarily football, but we picked up some great basketball this weekend as well. So we've got a lot to talk about. We will revisit basketball here briefly, but we're going to give a quick update on coaching changes in TAPPS. We're going to start with a very large one. Coach Jordan Black announced, along with Fort Bend Christian last week, that he will be leaving Fort Bend Christian. That job is now open. That is big. People
Yep.
forget that Coach Black won a state championship in 2022 with Fort Bend Christian over an incredibly and probably more talented All Saints team with kind of a destiny type run. Walker, I
Yep.
have some thoughts regarding the move, but I would like to hear from you first, just the broader context and what you think regarding this move.
No, yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I want to we'll do a little bit of a history lesson here. When Coach Black got hired in 2019, for the fall 2019 season, so he got hired in like January, I think. But that year before, they went 1-7. That was kind of the program he was going into, where Fort Bend was always had guys and then sometimes didn't. It was always a weird thing, but it 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 was a program that, from talking to people around there, was like not in the dumps, but it was struggling. Like it was a struggling program. And Coach Black was came in to be like, fix it. Like whatever you can, just try to fix it. And that's what he did. He took it to a 1-7 team to a state championship and multiple, like it was a bad year if you don't go past the second round of the playoffs type of team. You know what I mean? So what he's done there has been awesome. He reinvented and reinvigorated that program to being a top premier school in TXPS. Um, and that's what you see now, where you have had multiple big time guys go through there. You've had guys go Division 1 SEC and Remington Strickland from him. You've had guys like Max Granville come from there. You've had guys like Jimmy Ducksworth, even the guys that went FCS and other lower Division 1 D2s like the Brady Devers, the Brian Dominoes, etc. Right? He's gotten guys through there and developed them into being something special. And truly, like one of the better coaches we've been around, man. It was always he was probably one of our earlier connections, I think, Wes, when we first started this. And it was always welcoming going down to second or Fort Bend. And it's going to be interesting to see where they go, and kind of going towards the future, because I know you have some overarching thoughts. It's interesting because it's kind of the thing where it's like, okay, program was in the red. They bring a guy, bring it into the green, the high green. But and now you're like, okay, how can you get a guy from like the green to like the bright green? I don't know what I mean. Like take it from just a program that's really good into a established like machine of a program. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what they're looking for next. I mean, the report we heard that it was he walked away, but I definitely do think the powers that be wanted it kind of a shift. So it's going to be interesting to see who they want. There's programs all around Houston with private school that is still by a coach that is just that coach is synonymous with that program, right? So you have the Larnads at Kincaid, you have the McGuire's at St. Thomas now, Coach Davis, right? Like those are the guys that are instilled that program, and I think they want a guy they want a guy who can instill a true program going forward. And that's absolutely the best TXPS job opened up so far. And right now, and honestly, so far, because yeah, you had St. Thomas open up, but that was a clear cut. You were going to go that way. This is the best job right now in TXPS, all coaching cycle that's open. And it's going to have a lot of people from around Houston, around the state come and holler, because you can instill something really good in there, and they always will have dudes coming in there. And and also for just recruiting wise, Fort Bend ISD, Sugarland, Missouri City have dudes, man. They have dudes. And if you can get guys around that area, you can even go down to like South Houston of Pearland and Shadow Creek area, Manville, those areas. That's where it gets a little bit more interesting. So it could be really good for a team that wants to build a coach that wants to build a program through there. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch. I mean, nothing but great things to say about Coach Black, and if he stays in TXPS in his next step, any team is lucky to have him. I absolutely mean that. But it's interesting because that's the best job in the market is now open, and it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you summed it up really well. I'll just give some very personal thoughts. Fort Bend in district play is 22-3 since 2020. And granted, the detractors will come back and say, well, that district is terrible. And the detractors are right. The district's awful. It's Fort Bend and Second Baptist. And I think Second Baptist is the only team they lost to in those 4 years. I mean, Lutheran South is decent on a given year.
TWCA, it's
Yeah,
TWCA, LSA are like the teams that are like they're middle of the pack in all of D2. So it's a solid district, but they're not the powers like Fort Bend and Second Baptist. I
no,
agree.
but even like it's not like it's the I forget if that's District 3 that's got all the terrible San Antonio teams in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it's not even like it's that district. We don't give we didn't used to give regents maybe we did. Long story short, um I don't like it. I really don't think it's in the best interest of Fort Bend Christian because I think, and again, this is contingent on if they have somebody in mind that's an absolute home run. Like I feel like you don't make this move unless you have someone that you're like, we have the guy that's going to come in and start building things from the sixth graders up and then go in and get your, Beck Bride, Mike Wheeler type that's going to completely establish a culture. I don't know why Black couldn't have been that, to be honest with you. I think
I
he's
agree.
a great figurehead. He was incredibly cordial every time we spoke. And obviously, I'm not inside the program. I don't know these things. But in terms of an output, obviously, yeah, this year until you got to district was bad.
But he
The
made the
shellacking.
he made the he made the semifinal.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, man.
I'm saying I'll concede that the
Yeah,
pre-district play was embarrassing. But again, you don't play for pre-district recognition. You play for how well you play in district and how far you go in the playoffs. Again,
agreed.
I'm rambling a little bit, and I'm basically just saying what I told Walker in private is that they better go and knock my socks off with somebody because if
Yeah,
we go hire some dude that I have never heard before, some 83-year-old guy that coached in public school for a long time, I'm going to be upset. I'll be honest with you.
no,
Now,
I
granted,
agree.
there's a reason I don't run programs. They'll make a better decision than I would. We will see. Ryan Schroeder, any overarching thoughts on Coach Jordan Black departing from Fort Bend?
No, I just wanted to go back to, like you said, that 2022 season, just because I just remember it so well. And just like, I mean, that Fort Worth All Saints team, I wanted to hit on that again, too. That Fort Worth All Saints team was literally Goliath at some aspects of the way they were playing that year. And obviously, we know how good Fort Bend was, and Brady Dever obviously was a huge aspect of that team as well. But overall, that team had a tall task in defeating All Saints, and for Coach Black to basically come in and set that position up where he's putting Fort Bend in situations where they can win, even after the start of this past season too, where you're down by that much, and with a record wise, and you come back and have the season that you had, like I don't know. For me, I really see how Coach Black can really turn any organization. Like he always has the to get guys going when it's the right time, when the time is when they need it. So obviously, like Wes said, we're not inside the schools and stuff. We don't really know what's all going on. But from an outsider's perspective, we feel as if Coach Black has really brought a lot to the Fort Bend football program.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
say
see. And
this. I
go on.
wanted to agree with you because I think that my thing I was speaking from like the analyst perspective of just the future. I agree with you. I want to make that known. Like you better knock your socks off because losing Coach Black is huge. Like what he did for that school and that program made it a probably what in D2 at least no doubt a top 10 program. You could argue top five. And when you know what I mean? Like you can have the argument of like it's the yeah, it's what I was doing right now. It
Yeah.
was the All Saints, Regents, Second Baptist.
Liberty was D2 for a while, I guess current, but
I mean, you can say like Midland, uh, an SES had two semifinal runs, so maybe them back in the day.
come
But
on.
overall, I agree. I'm just saying it out there. A Brownsville, but I mean, a
Yeah, they're
Fort.
top five.
I mean, Fort Bend has to be a top five program in D2 under Jordan Black. Like You have to.
I feel like we're falling into some of the college expectations where you've got to go out and you have to be bringing us title after title. Guess what? There can only be one title every year. I don't know. The expectations might be a little high for my liking. We're literally less than what, 2 years, barely 2 years removed from him winning a state championship. I don't know. We will see. The final thing that I will say is we keep in mind Coach Black is a graduate of Dallas Christian. We don't know how, by the way, I don't think Mike Wheeler's retiring anytime soon, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm just saying I said it here first, and Cole Burke gave me that idea, so I have to credit him too.
Hey,
But
I mean, what a way to go out. 4 straight titles. I mean, not better way to go out.
I spoke with him briefly at I think it was Luke Carney's college celebration. He's got some vigor. He's got some vigor. I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. But we will move on from speculation land into other openings that we're aware of. I'm gonna hand this off to Walker because he's a little more familiar with what's going on. So Walker, what other
Yep.
jobs are looking open in the TXPS realm?
Yeah, we talked about St. Thomas, Coach Davis, John Paul with George Teague, Fuller over at Faith, Roby at Hyde Park, uh, the guy Joey Phillips over at Covenant, which I think is going to be really good from just the things that are happening on social media. Two big ones that just got hired announced: Trey Haverty from Parish Episcopal to Grapevine Faith for 2 months. Now is the official head coach at Addison Trinity Christian, which I think is a slam dunk hire. I think that's awesome. Right in the heart of Dallas. He's a former SMU guy, I believe. Like, that's awesome. He's back in Dallas. He's going to be a team. And as we always said, TC Addison is always going to have dudes. You just got to keep them there, and you got to keep them around that area. So if you could keep the Takashi Shaw and what's the big guy's name?
Beckley? No, he's gone.
Beckley's
Oh,
the defensive lineman from Prestonwood that transferred.
Harwell.
Harwell. If you can keep those core of guys coming through the program, they can be really, really successful. And I'm not going to say they're down, but like Parrish and Liberties have not really gone out there and recruited. I'm not saying you can go fight for first place, but you should be able to fight from like third to fifth. You know what I mean? Like that should be the range you should be fighting. Maybe like fourth to sixth. But anyways, my point is, you can build a program that truly fights in that Division 1 scale and makes a second. It should be a second, third round type of team in Division 1 if you get the right pieces together.
We do have to hit on how insane it is that I literally think the last episode that we were like, this is a amazing hire for Faith to get this dude as a DC. And we were literally looking up before the episode. And Walker was like, yeah, TCA hired Trey Haverty. We're both like, why is that name familiar? We're like, oh, that's the dude Faith hired like a month ago to be their DC. I don't know. It's crazy times. No idea what happened, but I that's a big loss. It's a big loss for Faith.
I think Haverty, that's a slam dunk. Being like, okay, I'm looking around for a head coaching job, 6A D1 school. Absolutely, let's go rebuild that program.
It's a better job than the Faith DC.
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna be probably more money in your bank account too. Like, good for him, right? For Fuller at Grapevine Faith, though, I don't know if he has now anyone that really knows TXPS on his staff. That's just something to watch going forward, right? Like, hopefully you know the ins and outs of how TXPS is and getting college coaches there and all of that, because I think Trey Haverty can do that. But moving on to Dallas Bishop Dunn, Kerry, I'm going to say Kerry Hyder Jr. Got the head coaching job at Dallas Bishop Dunn. Honestly, I'm excited that hopefully we can meet him one day when we're doing our spring ball. Wes, you have to go out there. But Bishop Dunn, it's an interesting thing where it seems like they hired a coach that has 10 years in the NFL, former Texas Tech grad, big career in the NFL. So the guy knows football, right? It's going to be interesting to see how he instills in Bishop Dunn, because I don't know just from social media, so I could be totally wrong, but like, it doesn't seem like he's coached anywhere. So this is a fresh hire. And honestly, as a fresh hire, there's probably I'm not going to say there's not a better spot, but it's a good spot to go to a Bishop Dunn, which is it's a rough program, but they have weapons and they have dudes. And if you build a team that is just more disciplined, well coached, that, to be honest, we have not seen in the Dunn of old in the past 5 years, it could be actually a really solid team, right? Like it could be a program in Division Two that competes in district.
Yeah, and I do have a question. You got to correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't part of the reason Dunn imploded because they had a pretty decent season in 22? Didn't they get smacked with some recruiting stuff?
I don't think it was recruiting stuff because yeah, that was the Jeremiah Horn era of like him and some other guys. Juan Million Aguilar left for Kimball. So, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. Like I, I don't know why I said that. I don't think it's a little bit of both. I don't think there were recruiting stuff that year. I think that maybe. I don't remember. Bro, I'm speaking
I'm
out of
gonna
my
say
butt. I don't know.
I'm only saying that because I'm like 80%
Yes.
sure I remember somebody telling me that,
Yeah.
which makes me segue into the fact that I don't know, unless they're being stupid, but I think it's ridiculous because you look at everyone's recruiting.
Yeah.
Why are we I don't know, maybe it's just egregious. Like I said,
No.
it's the off season. It's less scripted. We're gonna speculate a little bit, but I don't know. It's the Wild West,
No,
brother.
I think you make a great point. Bishop Dunn can be a program that succeeds. I think after the 2019 win or 2018 season where they won the state championship with Brian Williams and that whole squad, that whole after that they all broke up, right? Jordan Crook went to Duncanville, other guys went everywhere else, right? So the Dunn of old is gone. You have to get back there, but the Dunn of old also recruited the mess out of that area. I'm gonna say it, and I have no like facts on this, but I would love for someone in the comments that actually remembers that era of like when I was in high school, that like 18 to like whatever 15 era of Dunn. I wonder if the rise of Duncanville and DeSoto being a prominent power in Texas correlates with the fall of Bishop Dunn. I think that's very interesting. Um, because I think a lot of those kids went to in and there, right? Because Bishop Dunn is South Dallas, not that far away from those areas. So, Jordan Crook going from Bishop Dunn to Duncanville, et cetera, right? So I think it's interesting if you can get kids in there that and build a well. That's the thing. They're gonna always have guys like they're gonna have a players here and there. It's Bishop Dunn.
And even when
You
they've
have
been bad, they've had good athletes.
right, exactly, right. You have to build a well coached program. Like that's all the thing we hear about Bishop Down is like they got dudes, they're not well coached, right? So hopefully this new coach knows what an NFL structure of how to be a player is and instills kind of that discipline into a Bishop Dunn team, which it TXP's football is always good when Bishop Dunn is good. So I hopefully they get back to that Dunn of old of just being a well coached, exciting team in Division Two.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Do you have anything else? I was going to toss it to Ryan. Anything else regarding the rest of the openings?
Midland Christian is open. That's a very good job. Cunningham's gone. Interesting to see. I would expect them to hire a guy from around the Odessa Midland area. That's where I would expect it. Uh, I mean, granted, they just got hired a kid from Cunningham from Plano, so what do I know? But Fort Bend Christian interested. Arlington Oak Ridge. I mean, this is an Oak Ridge team that was a couple wins away from making it to the state championship last year and at 3A. So it's a good program, good area. You have to compete with other Grace Preps of the world and Pantigos, but it's a good job. Brazos Christian, it's the probably the top Division 4 job that will be D3 soon. Gonna be interesting to see who hires that. New Braunfels, another thing where they're now up to D3. Gonna be interesting to see how they play out. I think it's gonna be a good job. And New Braunfels is a growing area, so that's good for you. Bernie Geneva, I don't know anything about Virgin Geneva. Not going to comment on that. And Hallettsville Sacred Heart, always a prominent Division 4 team, but I mean, I'm going to guess people from like the Hallettsville, Victoria, Shiner area, someone's going to get hired from that area. I don't know. Some
They
small town
need to.
coach.
They should just hire Nick Angerstein. That's probably their best bet.
Just like demolish the program for 3 years until he finishes at SFA. Yeah, I agree.
No, I say go get him now. Like, I mean, he's not going to play until Saturdays. Just let him
That's
like come coach on Fridays and kick on Saturdays and figure the rest of it out.
It's a great point. Yeah, that's all I have to really say. We'll keep you updated as time goes on, though.
All right, that sounds good. Ryan Schroeder, let's get into some TAPPS basketball action to where we actually had eyes on it this past weekend.
Yes, we did. I appreciate y'all going down there. I'm so sad I couldn't make it. Apparently the flights, direct flights from OKC to Waco this time of year. just a little bit more expensive, I guess. But no, honestly though, like it was. I mean, for y'all that were there, y'all saw it. It was honestly a great time. For y'all, I mean, y'all saw 4A and 5A were kind of like blowouts and stuff, but 6A was one of the games of the year, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what I wanted to go into. Um, the South swept. That's something that's not really like the football in that aspect. The North is always usually the victors in that aspect, but the South did sweep across all three of the divisions that we cover in 4A, 5A, and 6A. And I just want to call this out. Now, usually I don't put a lot into the bot accounts, but our friend Mike Jacobson says this is a tournament full of blowouts, and although I try not to take a lot from um, Mr. Mike Jacobson, I can't help but think that he's actually right. Um, I at first I really didn't believe it, and then I kind of went down all three divisions, right? Um, like I said, ironically, the best game of probably the entire TAPPS basketball circuit tournament was Saturday night in 6A between St. Michael's and Parrish with the game winner. But across the entire 4A to 6A playoffs, we only had 4 games under a 5-point difference in round of 16 and beyond. That's 45 games and only 4 of them having a 5-point difference. I mean, that's just not ideal. Those 4 games obviously being first round Parish over Legacy in that crazy game. The other one being another first round Covenant over Bishop Gorman. We had a semifinal one in Lubbock Christian over McKinney, and then that state championship one. So Parish was involved in 2 of them. I mean, that's just like that can't happen, right? We didn't have it feels like there's almost no comp across, all divisions. And I know what you're probably saying to yourself right now is like, well, they foul and that creates a margin of difference that would be over 5 points and stuff like that. I know some people would probably immediately argue that. Um, but that's not fair either because 35 of the 45 games were of a margin of 10 points or more. In 6A, we had 12 out of the 15 games be of 10 points or more. In 5A, we had another 12 out of 15 games. In 4A, we had 11 out of the 15 games be of 10 points or more. That is absurd. I mean, oh my, what's the math on that? Wes, you're a math guy. What's 35 over 45? I need math. Are you a math guy?
When I've got a calculator.
35
cool.
over 45, 77%.
77%.
Over 3/4 of the games were basically quote unquote a blowout. If you call a blowout 10 points, that's not good basketball. So what's the problem? Are TAPPS playoffs actually allergic to good games, as our friend Mike Jacobson says? Um, I don't think it's TAPPS. I honestly think it's probably high school basketball in Texas as a whole. A lot of this results from things like no shot clock, right? No shot clock is something that people argued a lot in the Parish game against Legacy, where it came down to the end where, Legacy opens the second half with holding the ball for 3 minutes, right? And as someone that covers a lot of basketball every single day, I can't help but think the pace of play when I went to go cover these private school games, when I went to go cover the Parish Bishop Lynch game and the Prestonwood versus JP2 game, the pace of play is slow. Like it's pretty slow. Guys are taking about, sometimes 30 to 50 seconds to put up a shot. And yeah, I mean, from y'all's perspective, for people that were there, do you think the pace of play was slower than you imagined, or do you think it was about on par, or what do you think? I just feel like guys are trying to get the best shot possible.
Yeah, it's slower. And I heard an argument poised to me. Um, a lot of people say there still shouldn't be a shot clock because some of these smaller schools, maybe no disrespect, but some of the smaller, even girls' schools, like it would just completely destroy the game. Like they wouldn't be able to get a shot. To which I don't really believe that. I think like worst comes to worst, like 1A and 2A, no shot clock, everyone else shot clock, or maybe give them like a minute shot clock. If you can't
Right.
find a shot in a minute, you need to
Right.
go play field hockey, dude. Like it's over.
Yeah.
Well, Walker, like pace of play wise, what do you think? Obviously, you watch a lot of NBA basketball, and
Yeah.
and Wes watches college, so the 30 to 24 difference. I'm even kind of arguing like a 35 in college or a 35 in high school. I don't know what
Right.
the standard is across other states, but I don't know.
I think I think it was interesting where like I haven't watched high school basketball in a long time, but like probably since the last time we did state. And I being on the court during like on the score like the score table is like it's fast going down and forth. Like it's fast, fast, fast. But like once you get back down to like each side of the court, like, yeah, like you said, it's kind of waiting to figure out what's the best shot I can find. Like the transition back and forth is great. Like it's just the kids who have all the energy in the world, they go down and back, but like the shots are not, when that happens, the shots are not good, and it results in just a lot of like, missed shots off the rim, a lot of
Right.
rebounding, and they going back to down the same thing. So it's either that or it's setting up for a 40-second long finally getting a shot off. Like it's a kind of a mixture of both, and sometimes it's yeah, it's interesting basketball for sure.
There's only so many dribble handoffs I can see before I want to vomit on a single possession.
Yeah, high school has a lot of DHOs, not as much not moving without the ball, but that's just a high school basketball thing. Um, this is my proposition to TAPPS. I feel like it's exactly what Wes just said. They're waiting for UIL to make the move. They're waiting for because they don't feel like certain schools can help with that or whatever and stuff like that. Also, I've heard the argument that you can't standardize it in every single gym across the entire state, which isn't true at all. You could set it in the corner how they do it. I don't know if you've ever seen like an NBA shot clock go out, but they'll literally set like a thing in the corner that
Oh
has the
yeah.
shot clock on it. They do that at AAU tournaments too. I don't know.
Give some parent in the stands a
Yeah.
stopwatch. He just screams out at 5-second intervals. Like we can
Dude,
figure something out.
It's so funny you said that. The G League game I just covered, they played in Laredo. The shot clock went out. The PA announcer got on the mic at 10 seconds and counted down 10, 9, 8. That's what they did for an entire 3/4 of a G League game.
That's Laredo.
Yeah, that was Laredo and whatever.
I think there's definitely like even if you do the thing where like okay like UIL does for state championships, they have like VAR, right? Or not
Right,
VAR,
right.
but like review,
No,
right?
review, yeah.
Right. And so you don't even have to do it to like the whole season, but at least maybe like playoffs when like you can do it like everyone travels to a nicer gym for like the rounds, right?
Right,
They have it
right.
to there where like yeah, maybe you have it at the gyms that are good.
Yeah, we're calling Waco University and Robinson nicer
Oh,
gyms.
So all this to go back to say, I had an argument on Twitter with someone 3 years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, about a second back this guy, and he was telling me they were hosting this tournament. No, I'm just gonna be 100% honest. They were hosting the tournament, and had a shot clock, but it was so off to the side that I felt like guys couldn't even see it come down the floor. And he goes, "Well, that's just how we had to do it. We had to standardize it somehow. This is the only way we could get it up there during this tournament." Now, and I just want to go back three years later, not seeing any change, and be like, at least they're trying, right? At least they're doing something to do it. And I think I was a little too critical in that instance because we haven't seen anything like that, and they tried it out for an entire tournament. The last thing I'll say about the shot clock, because I think we need to keep going, is what if you had it like MLB used to have with the DH and stuff like that, right? So if a UIL school comes and plays you, they have to play with the shot clock. And if you go play at a UIL school, then they don't. And that's if TAPPS was to incorporate it before UIL did.
No,
That would be interesting.
I like it.
Somebody needs to do it, dude.
Make
It's
the
the fact to me that somebody could get up by like, and I know this doesn't happen, but the fact to me that somebody could get up by like 4 points and just stand there, hold the ball, and nobody does anything. It's insane.
You're basically seeing that, and I've talked to coaches too, by the way. I won't get too much in this, but coaches also realize what's wrong with the shot clock. So I'll just say that. But the thing I want to move on to next, because it isn't just a shot clock issue. I'm not going to blame the entire 10-point stretch of games on just a shot clock because that seems kind of stupid. It's this chalk mentality across all private school sports. We see it in football. Why can August can I tell you the 4 teams that are going to win the state championships in Division 4, Division 3, Division 2, and Division 1? Now, obviously that changed because we thought Holy Cross was going to win by week 2. But before the season started, we did pick Dallas Christian. So before the first week in August, we knew all 4 state championship winners. That can't happen. And the same thing as this, we saw almost all chalk across all of TXPS basketball too for the state championship. It's just not that there's anything wrong with chalk or whatever, but I think it just comes down to mentality issue, right? There isn't a reason why there should only be 4 games within 5 points in an entire playoff stretch across 3 divisions. That just doesn't seem right. And I don't know if that's on the players or if that's on, but I don't know. So I think it is on the players because I'm about to go into this whole thing of coaches have been doing it, bro. Like the coaches in the DFW area of TAPPS basketball, like Coach May at Lynch, Coach Clarkson at Prestwood, Coach Johnson at Legacy, Coach Lee at JP2, Coach Ajami at Parrish. I actually forgot how to say his name in the moment. Coach Saman at Faith, Coach Duke at Grace Prep, Coach Martinez at McKinney Christian. These are all coaches that have been at the pinnacle, at the top of winning state championships and other things. And they now have all these teams, and it's still chalk again, these years too. Ironically, like it just seems like this is now not a coaching issue, definitely a mentality issue, definitely a narrative issue. Teams feel like that they're already down going into these games, and it doesn't feel like they can overcome that. Am I wrong? You tell me I'm wrong because I don't understand why we don't see any parity at all. Why can we decide on day one who's going to win the state championship and then they win the state championship? How does that happen?
I'll be honest and say I don't think this is any different than the way things have been for a long time. Like I remember, like not with DC. I've said this before. My freshman and sophomore year of high school, we started the season like, yeah, we could make a run at this thing. DC's good, but DC's not otherworldly. And then TCCH came in, and we're like, well, the state championship has been decided from day one. We can't do anything.
But why is that? Why is it the mentality? That cannot be the mentality.
Because
it's true.
But
you
it's
have
when
to
you
get on a bus. You have to get on a bus, and you have to think that you're going to win. That's the only
right. Everyone will do that, but you've got to be realistic with yourself in some sense or form. So if I put myself in Maurice Washington in front of this camera right now, and I'm going to ask you, who's the better athlete? If I ask myself that in high school, I'd be like, I wouldn't even say that. I'd be like, yeah, they're gonna kill us.
That's fair, but I think too many. I don't like that mentality. I think the mentality is.
I think it depends.
I think a lot of guys are just like us that have that mentality of we know who the better team is, and then it's just not a.
I don't know. I think high school kids are stupid enough not to think that they're outmatched immediately.
Man, I don't know.
Like I remember going through the film of TCCH that first year and being like, okay, it's prime time, it's all that. Like I remember going through practice and being like, look, man, there's some things we can do, like whatever.
We did the same thing,
right? Like you go through it and be like, if you just do this, we're gonna be good. And then we
play them.
Yeah, then you play them in 70-7, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, okay, I think it's different. Like March Madness is a thing where like, okay, any underdog can win. It's one game, whatever, right? Like,
March Madness is the most
gap
parity.
is much closer in college.
Exactly.
All these kids were the stars of their high school teams. You have people like me playing against guys that win D1.
So is that the problem? Is that there's too much talent and the disparity of talent is too?
Yeah,
we have 4 stars and 5 stars.
And you can't say that because that's good for our program.
Okay, that's fine. I low-key agree. We're about to get into all the guys that are 4 stars within private school sports. So in basketball.
But you're gonna say all those guys, and it's gonna be like 2, and they're all at one school. That's the thing. Like all of the guys you're about to say are all gonna be at one school, and we're not asking like. And I think I'm gonna reiterate your point, but I'm gonna change it a little bit. I'm not asking for like, and this is also for football too. Like I'm not asking for like, okay, you need to have every game, like every upset, every round. Like I want a different state champion from when I started to the end. Like I would love that, but that's just not how it is, right? Because we know before the season there is 6 D1 athletes on that team and there's none on that team. It's going to be like that. That's high school football, that's high school basketball, that's sports, right? Like there's a reason the Charlotte Hornets are the last team in the NBA versus the Boston Celtics, right?
But do we allow
But like even in that instance, right? Like the skill gap is so close because they're all NBA players, right? In high school, it's totally different. High school is like Division I athletes versus a team that, hey, mom and dad, I want to play football for 4 years and just have some fun with my friends. It's a whole different thing, right? Like
so when does it come to conversation that teams should be able to move within to like a Jesuit type spectrum to going to the UIL level, if we're just basing this on like, because all these are based on how many kids are at the school, right?
Oh, it's like it's the same thing in
I don't know.
UIL.
I don't know my argument. I don't know my argument is.
It's a very okay. I'll help your argument.
Just frustrated. I'm frustrated.
I'll help your argument. I would do this.
Who's going to win every year?
Like you knew in 6A D1, Duncanville is going to be the best team I know, granted, this year it was North Crowley, but like, no, like you knew going into this year, Duncanville was going to be one of the best teams in the country, right? One of the best teams in the state. They had all the guys, and I'm not
Yeah.
expecting like Fort Worth Boswell to beat them in round one, right? But I'm expecting. Your argument is this. I want more upsets in the games leading up to the state championship. The teams that are good are gonna make the state championship. But like even in football and TAPPS this year, I don't think there was truly one upset in any of the games. Like there was never a team besides the state championship of Holy Cross DC, which
If
even
we're
if
going DC an upset.
right, you know what I mean? Like it's like I don't think there was ever really an upset in any game where you were like, "Holy cow, what a win!" Like there were teams that were like, "Okay, it could go either way," but there was never a big upset. That's a majority of the time just high school sports, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
especially in this level because it's even the talent is even worse than a typical 6A like district. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
I
The
agree.
farther down you go in
Right?
division, whether that's college to high school or like UIL 6A to
Yeah.
TAPPS 1A, the the difference is stark. That's where you see much more
Yeah.
glaring differences in talent.
I think this
For
this
sure.
whole argument is like the typical like I'm at the lunch table in high school of like
Yeah.
we go on one point and we just go across and go crazy and then we don't really know what we're talking about. This is absolutely what this is. But I agree with your point of like there should be more parity. But we've spoken to that since starting this podcast and 5 years later we've
Yeah.
talked about parity in every high school sports. But that's high school sports. Like
Yeah.
the more guys you bring in, the more guys that are competitive, the more talented athletes in high school and more guys that I want to go play college ball and I have the ability to play college ball versus the guys who are like, I just want to play high school football for fun and I'm going to go to college afterwards and be a good kid. Like that's what you need to be more competitive
Right.
in high school. Like that's just how it is. And
Right.
that's what makes it so much fun is like teams like SES for example, when we were good after I left, it was kids that went up through the program and we just had 3 years of like kids that were really athletic that those 3 years coming into the SES. Like some teams just get lucky of like there's a generation of kids that are going through the program that are really good athletes. And that's what
Right.
makes high school football and high school sports are just so much fun is you're doing it. But then there's the liberties of the world where you get, 15 guys in one year, you win a state championship, yay, but like,
Right.
is it the same? And that's the whole Holy Cross DC debate.
And I think that was the argument as well that we've been making about Paris this year is everyone thinks that they're one of those teams for basketball wise. And no, all those guys have been there for a minute. Last thing I'll hit on this and we can move on is just, as someone that won the pick record in football and then basically was one pick away from going perfect and these sometimes I'll tell the peanut gallery here. Sometimes picking chalk is the way to go. So if you want to win pick records, I know
Crazy concept.
no, I keep winning, so we'll see what happens. But let's move into the actual games that we went on site to cover. I know it's about 40, 50 minutes into the episode now, and we haven't gone over who's actually played in these games, but 5A was at 11 a.m. It was the first game of the day. I couldn't tell you why 5A played before 4A, but 5A played first, and it was Houston Second Baptist. Obviously one of the best teams in the state in 5A, clear favorite to win. But Coach Duke always brings a squad. They move up from 4A to 5A. Grace Prep does, and they're ready to fight. Right, a great season for them. But they get bested by a team that just had an insanely talented squad at the helm by 2027 guard Reese Alston. Final score of that game is 65-47. The Eagles get it done, or the what's called the Houston Second Baptist Eagles get it done over Grace Prep. But yeah, y'all were on site. Obviously, y'all got exposed to 2027 guard Reese Alston. Obviously, the kid is very, very tough for a sophomore.
Yep.
Definitely gives off the vibes of looking like he'll be one of the best if he decides to stay in the private school spectrum. What was y'all's thoughts about this game and how dominant did Houston Second Baptist look?
Dude,
Pretty much wire to wire. I mean, briefly, I'll say we spoke to Coach Josh Duke before the game for Grace Prep, and he pretty immediately let us know. He's like, I forgot what's the freshman's name, Ryan? Do you remember for Grace Prep, the really good one?
Oh no, I've kind of lost a lot of their
We'll,
names.
we'll we'll grab his name, but I'm pretty sure he's their leading scorer. He played like 1 minute in the semifinal game, and he was out. And I think their second leading scorer was also out. So he was
yeah,
like, I'm not saying we're going to lose, but it's a much different team than you would have seen.
agreed.
And yeah, that reflected in the final score. What I will say, and it'll kind of establish a trend here for what we saw at state. Reese Alston, granted, I don't watch the most high school basketball in Texas, but if you were to tell me that Reese Alston wasn't one of the best guards in the state, I would call you crazy. He
Yeah.
passes the eye test, whether that's creating off the dribble, driving to the rim, shooting, getting his teammates open shots, all the cliches. I mean, turn on the tape. Dude is fantastic. What'd you see, Walker?
No, yeah, I think like he was so fluid in how he moved around. His shot was good. Um, I always think of it like in basketball too. Like I know this is kind of dumb, but I don't know basketball well like these guys do, so I'm just gonna say it. Like they're just guys that look like basketball players and on the court just like act like basketball players. Like they nail what they're like better than everyone else, right? And that's what you saw as a sophomore. He was the best player on the floor, not floor, yeah, floor. He was the best
Yeah.
player on the floor, and he moved like how like a elite college prospect would, and you saw it and how he played, and it was kind of the thing where I think he was like going with like 50. He had 10 at the half, and then uh was at the end of the third. He was at 11. Ended the game at 20. Like in that fourth quarter, he was just like, "I'm good. I'm gonna dominate and just seal this one out." And that's what he did. And there are other good players like Shia Francis is the guy that I don't know how he's not playing
Dude,
football, by the way, but
his
like
his
yeah.
dunk was insane. It was the first clip of the day we got out. That
Dude,
was sick.
Shia Francis is a outside linebacker, sideline to sideline. If I've ever seen one, I don't know
We need to
how.
we need to get on Bryden for not
Yeah,
getting him to play football. That's a
Brian,
huge miss.
dude, and he's a junior. Get that man. Replace Cash Harris next year or Bryce Butler now. But I think he was really good. William Goolsby was a good outside shooter. And I came away the other sophomore for Grace Prep, Amari Coleman, ended up with 15. Thought he was solid too, around like 6'2", I think 6'3". He has a bright future ahead of him too. So this game ended at 65-47. I think this game with a full healthy Grace Prep squad would have been much closer. But to be honest, I don't think even Reese Alston was gonna let it be that close. He was chillaxing most of this game at times. Where like I think he could have turned it on much more and kind of sealed this game out like the best players do. So good win for Second Baptist. Shout out to Coach Walker and hey, first year under that new head coach over there at Second
Mm,
Baptist. And I think
mm.
that you saw the program shift where they were always a good basketball team, but he got them over the hump.
Definitely
Uh,
so. And I do have to shout out Waverly for that video of Shy Francis because I forgot we were speaking and I was looking at the video. And it's one of those things where it's super close on Reese and then super close on Shy. And she sees
yeah,
he's going to dunk and she zooms way out
I
and
love
gets it
it.
the last second. It was some great videography work. But where are we going next, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think that name you're trying to think of the Grace Prep kid was MJ Boyd by chance.
Yes.
Was that be the name?
Yep.
Shout out to MJ. Obviously, from what we understand, probably had a great season. That's a Jacob Bermudez question for you right there.
It is.
To ask about the whole season,
I
but
think
obviously,
Taylor Land, also the head coach of Second Baptist. Does that sound right?
okay.
Yeah, the land, one of the lands, one there at Second Baptist, and also one with St. Michael's, which we're going to talk about shortly. Yeah.
And I was gonna say real quick, Reese Alston, from my memory, as we started going down this list, he would have been the leading scorer across all of the three divisions we're about to cover for
Wow,
games with the 20 points he had in that game. Um,
that does
moving
make
on,
sense.
let's
Yeah.
move it on to 4A. Um, it- this was truly the division that has been run this whole season, and 3A before was run by them. Houston St. Francis is just a basketball powerhouse of the past, I don't even know, what, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, if not more. They were winning in 3A for a long time, and finally got the just kept on pushing. They were led by 2025 SMU commit Nigel Walls as they defeated Lubbock Christian 55-36. Nigel Walls has the build for the next level. He is truly
Yeah.
that guy from a
He's
build.
6'11".
Dude, he's that guy
Is he
from a
really?
build
Oh,
standpoint.
wow.
Dude,
Yes,
dude,
dude.
standing next to
I
Wes,
will say,
standing
dude,
next to Wes
don't even
is
do. They
so
did me
funny.
so dirty.
We're
I was
tall.
watching that back.
We are
I was
tall
wa-
people, but
Dude,
yeah.
I think my mom sent me that, and she's like, "This dude makes you look like a hobbit." I'm like, "Thanks, mom, love you." I was like, "I'm 6 foot, by the way. He's just 6'11".
Dude,
Gosh.
he's tough and excited to see him at the next level. Obviously, Nigel Walls was the leading scorer for that game as well. But other notable players on that team were the Columbia commit 2025 as well, John LeBoy. He also I think
Dude,
was
he was, yeah,
in the
he's
realm
good.
of scoring in this game too for I think he's the second leading scorer if I remember correctly. No, sorry, so sorry.
Uh,
The other one, Monmouth commit. Is that how you say the name of school?
I wouldn't
Monmouth
go.
commit.
Yeah.
Omarion Harvey was the second leading scorer behind Nigel Walls. Both of them obviously playing, or both John and Omarion playing help to Nigel in this case. Overall, a dominant victory. But shout out Lubbock Christian. That was an upset win the round before to get past McKinney Christian, a team that went 38-2 this season. And just first off, hands or was it claps off, hands off? What hats off? That would be the way you say that. Hats off to Coach Martinez and crew over there. Obviously a 3-point loss in the semifinals definitely burns, but it was a great season overall. I mean, to go only one loss to the semifinals was incredible. And I think Lubbock Christian, whether you run into St. Francis at the end of the day or not, Lubbock Christian had a great season as well, making it to Saturday in Waco. Um, from what y'all saw in person, from how Nigel plays and stuff and the build he has, um, Wes, will you see his success continue at your alma? Can I call your alma mater as well, SMU?
Technically, yes. And also, I forget, I will be watching him play against Duke because for some reason SMU's in the ACC now.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
fair
yeah,
too.
dude, 6'11". I don't care. I don't care if you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. If you're 6'11", you can play Division I basketball. It's just
Yeah.
kind of the way these things. I mean, Taco Fall could hardly put one foot in front of the other, and he almost beat Duke by himself. All that being said,
Good point.
yeah, absolutely, he's going to be really good. I do think um, it was kind of hard to understate how dominant they were
Yeah.
in the first quarter. They shut Lubbock Christian out in the first quarter. Lubbock
Yeah. Oh
Christian
my
did not
gosh.
score.
Yes.
I mean, and St. Francis only scored 13, but it felt like 30 because it's
Yeah.
like
It was
anytime
ridiculous.
anyone brought a ball close to the rim, Nigel Walls was just here. And like poor guys like Welker, Horn, and everyone else, they were like, well, shoot, I don't know what I'm going to do. Just throw it up. He blocks it and they go in transition. I mean,
Dude,
it's
I
just
felt
how it
so
works.
bad for Major Tucker. So Major Tucker is their starting center, made the all tournament team, and like was their offensive, like their all state offensive lineman in football, by the way. And Major Tucker's like 6'3", maybe, and he's their center. And he went against this
Yeah.
guy, and you're just like, there was multiple times he was like, all right, I do this against every other team. I body you in the post, I post up, I put up a little hook, right, and I score bucket. Not against that buddy. Like it was just not gonna happen. And I felt so bad because like you probably know against like any other team, I'm good. I'm Division
He's got an
three,
amazing old man YMCA game, just back
right,
down, pump fake.
but
Did
not
y'all
against 6'10".
y'all have to look at the TAPPS photo for the all tournament team. Dude, Lubbock Christian guys are smiling. They're just happy to be there. They didn't even care. They just knew what was coming. I asked, oh my gosh, I asked my friend, I was like, who do you think lost this game? And of course, I don't even know. Some of the St. Francis guys weren't even smiling that much. And all the Lubbock Christian guys were pretty smiley. And of course she was like, oh, like I think the team in the white won. And I'm like, no. The team in the navy won. And they won by about 20 points too. But it's just, I mean, like we said earlier, it's just one of those things where teams like St. Francis are just built with, commits, multiple 3 stars. Obviously, Nigel Walls is a 4-star, I believe, as well. And another thing to say is a lot of these guys got to link up this past summer on JL3, which is the AAU team, had the 4-star that's going to Auburn from St. John's, Houston St. John's, who Sebastian William Adams is on that
Yep.
team. A couple other guys from the area, but yeah, dude, it was JL3 is just built with this the EYBL team was built with a bunch of these guys together. Good private school showing from that crew. So
I want to say one last thing is like, and we can talk about it going into the next game. I think as a basketball GM, I'd get somebody fired because how in the world is a Marion Harvey only a Monmouth commit? Because like when you look at him, like he's 6'4", 6'5", very athletic, moves around well. Like I would look at that and be like, that's a big time prospect, and that's why I'm not a GM in basketball because I'm like I don't get it, but like I think he's really good, and even on the all tournament team, like you said, Ryan, Nigel Waltz didn't even make it. Like he was not on the thing. It was a Marion and like LeBoy and someone else,
there's no
and
way. There's
yeah,
no way.
I
He
just looked
wasn't
it up.
on the
Yeah, no, it's
Oh,
LeBoy, the other guy, and Marion. He didn't make the all tournament team. for 4A, which is hilarious.
By the way, I just gotta say this will come out when the gallery comes out, but the sequence I got of Nigel Walls absolutely postering this poor kid from Lubbock Christian, maybe the best burst I've ever gotten in my life. It's amazing.
Dude, but like
Did he have to go to the bathroom? Why is he
no,
not in this
he was
photo?
no, I don't know why. That's kind of that was my thought
I mean,
process.
are we kidding? No, but anyways,
No, but isn't it crazy?
that's
But like, yeah, it was a great game. I wanna shout out Lubbock Christian. I mean, I think Cooper Carthel was a solid player. I've seen him forever since he was going into his sophomore year as a high school football prospect as a safety. I think he's a great football player as well. But he was the leading scorer for Lubbock, which is impressive. And shout out to Walker Horn for being a superstar in football and was their starting like small forward, I guess, for Lubbock and try to do whatever he could against this team. And that's a great kid, great family, and it's always been fun watching him play athletics. And this will be our last time to do it. So shout out to Welker Horn for putting it all out there. My last question, and then we can move on because we're going to talk about this team next. Wes and I talked about it at the thing. I honestly think that St. Francis team might have been the best team I saw that weekend. I really kind of think that. And we can. This is why I'm opening this discussion because we're about to talk about St. Mike's. I think it's between St. Mike's and St. Francis is the two best teams in this
Yeah.
weekend.
No, it absolutely is. I don't know. I think Bo Ogden's the best player.
I agree.
I truly do. I think Bo Ogden's insane,
you
but
you think
also,
Bo's better than Reese?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
Bo
They're
moves
both
as well,
very
and I
good.
think Bo's bigger.
Ironically, all three of these guys are in different classes.
Yeah.
Nigel's a senior, Bo's a sophomore, or sorry, Nigel's a senior, Bo's a junior, and Reese is a sophomore.
Oh,
So
yeah, I'll just say Bo. I think Bo's better because he's a year older. Let's just
yeah,
go with that.
Also,
that's
it just
fair.
he looks more. He's like 6'7",
He's
6'6", and he looks
who?
bigger. Bo Ogden, right? He's like
There's no
six.
way he's six
He's like
six. He's
six
like
6'5" is what he
Okay,
says.
he's like
I
six.
just remember.
I'd feel better if he was 6'7" because I'd also feel less short next to him. But
6'7". I don't.
by the way, I don't understand that meme. I don't know what that means.
We're getting an edit off right now. He's 6'6" on his Twitter. I thought he was
Oh,
6'5", listed somewhere
So
else, but
well, that makes me feel a lot better
6'6",
actually.
6'6", 6'7", something like that.
I need an editor in TXPS to do that for us and do like a
for
highlight
Bo
film.
Ogden. For
Yeah,
Bo
no,
Ogden.
that or just for us in general, that would also work too.
Oh,
Is
Like
that a
a,
Drake song?
no, I don't know what it's from.
No, gosh, you're not on the internet anymore.
I don't know. No, I've been seeing it all over the internet, and I
no.
don't know what it means.
No, you're not on the internet anymore. All right, let's move on. 6A, the game of the year, probably across all divisions, across all of TAPPS basketball, was absolutely, kind of made probably the entire year worth it for sure. Austin St. Michael's. Okay, for context, neither of these teams have lost a private school game, and neither of these teams have lost to a public school UIL in the state of Texas.
Nice.
They both lost. Parrish never had a loss in Texas, and St. Michael's 2 losses came to prep teams in the state. I think they lost to Dynamic Prep, which is on the massive circuit with all the other big Montverde, whatever, all those types of teams. And the other one was maybe Legacy School of Sports Sciences, if I remember correctly. So Austin St. Michael's also had beaten some of the best teams in the state in UIL. Probably 2 of the best teams you'll ever see in private school basketball faced off, and it ended exactly how it was supposed to. The pinnacle came to the final moment where Bo Ogden hits a game winner. If you haven't seen it, it's on our Instagram, it's on our Twitter, it's on TikTok, it's on YouTube Shorts. Go check it out. It was an incredible shot, and just obviously just one of those. But we have to talk first about basically the timeout that got called right before, where one of the Al-Mutar twins, is that how you say that? Al-Mutar? I guess I feel like Al-Mutar twins kind of had a pick steal almost kind of had like he poked the ball away at about half court. And basically from what it looks like on the video from Jay Fry, shout out Jay Fry on Twitter, from what it looks like, it's kind of looks like he gets tripped from my angle from the broadcast, because obviously I wasn't there. But Walker and Wes are in person, and I feel like they have a different take on it. If you haven't already, go to Jay Fry NBA on X if you want to watch the clip as well. But from my perspective with the broadcast, you almost feel like he's getting tripped at about half court. Walker and Wes in person. What do y'all think of that situation? Do you feel like he just like lost it when he was going out, and Bo had possession, and like what was the play?
So here's what I'll say is that in the moment, I was walking past the scorers table and I had to ask Walker what happened because I had no idea what was going on because I'm looking through a camera lens. However, I went back and I probably looked, sadly, I looked at this for like 7 or 8 minutes today, just going in slow-mo. Um, I'm going to be honest, it looks like Almatar kind of initiates contact with the St. Mike's kid first. And then obviously after that, the St. Mike's kid kind of trips into his legs and they both go down. I will say, I'm a fan of refs swallowing their whistles in big time moments. I don't like it to become a ref show at the end. Now here, I will say if there was a foul to be called, I really do think it could be on Parrish. Not on the initial steal because that's clean, but as his momentum's kind of taking him towards uh that court, he kind of makes contact with the St. Mike's kid. Now I sound like Jay Billis just waxing poetic
Well,
on ref stuff, which I hate personally. Those are my thoughts.
I'm looking at.
from what you just, oh, actually, sorry, well, I asked both y'all. Walker, you go first, and then I'll
n-
give my thoughts
n-
again.
Okay, I'm looking at it now, and I'm kind of glad they didn't call anything because in the moment I was watching it, and I thought it was just like because the ball going away was like you said, the handoff was bad, the ball was everywhere, and it was just player on player dive, right? Like it's just dive for the ball. And in high school, like that whole game, they didn't really call a lot of like personal fouls. Like it's high school basketball. Like if you go up, you get physical, whatever. And both kids just dive for the ball. And I see people in the comments calling about tripping. I don't know about
Yeah.
tripping. I don't know
No,
about.
that's 1000% what it was, and that's my take on the situation. For anyone that can't see it, Bo Ogden's back as Almutar stealing the ball. Bo Ogden's back falls on Almutar's leg as he's about to take off for the ball, and basically causes Almutar to trip
But
as
I
he's
mean,
reaching for the
if
ball.
but okay, by that
Almatar's
logic,
making contact
yeah,
with
but yeah,
Ogden
that's what I'm
first with his
saying.
shoulder.
Yeah,
No,
his whole.
but he got ball first, and then he trips. So
The
Almutar
reason
just
he
falls.
got
But
the ball though was by
yeah,
going into Ogden's shoulder.
right.
But Bo falls back as
Because
Almutar's stealing
he
it.
gets
Because he
shoved.
gets hit in the shoulder.
But
Yeah.
you don't fall backwards when the ball is getting taken from you.
If you get pushed like this, you go this way and you fall that way. Like
I
it's
low key
He's
need another
getting
angle.
hit and then he's kind of getting spun. And again, there's a lot of contact both ways.
that's it. Ball in the air, ball go, and two kids go after it. And I think then
If we're gonna
then
be
they call
ticky
timeout.
tacky, if we're gonna be ticky tacky on the final possession, the Parrish kid brings his arms down towards
Yeah.
Ogden as he's shooting the ball and makes a little contact. I mean, it could have been called a foul there.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Wait, the last shot of the game that went
Yeah.
in? Well, yeah, it also could have been goaltending because he touched the net. I just didn't think it mattered because the ball went in the net.
I missed that part.
The ball
But
going in the net?
No, the goal to oh, sorry.
Oh,
look, I think that's like I mean, I have no
I
skin
did
in
also
the
miss the ball
game.
going in the net.
I have no skin in the game, but I think that's a good no call. Balls in the air or balls just on the court. Go dive for it. Two guys hit each other. St. Mike's gets the ball. They call a timeout and 5 seconds left. Like you can also do yeah. Like you also for Parrish. Like you played great defense at the end. That's a like the whole shot of Bo Ogden. That is ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
Bo
a
Ogden
dumb.
admitted it was a bad shot.
That's a terrible shot to do. Like that's a prayer. You lost on a prayer, which sucks. And yeah, you can say, well, Parrish could have gotten the ball there and they had a chance to win it. Yes, I totally get that. But you played great defense. Like luck just wasn't on your side in that one. Like
to be fair, if he gets tripped there, if he doesn't get tripped there, that's a fast break situation, and Almutar's probably scoring that. Also, if he gets fouled, I don't know the foul situation, but he's probably going to the line. And the other thing I was going to say in this situation too, going back to what Wes said earlier, that's a DHO special there that just kind of
yeah,
failed. You know,
yeah,
that's
100%.
a let's get the ball to Bo, and you know, basically just a mishap where the guy tried. It didn't even look like he's trying to go for the steal.
I
that
don't know
kid-
if that'll even focus. How does that go in? Like it's
Yeah,
just
no,
like you
that's
look at the angle. Nothing about
that-
it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. This kid tried to fake the DHO to Bo, and then you know, let's move on. I think overall we've done
I
enough
would love
arguing
to
on the situation.
I would love to
But
talk about that first half for St. Mike's, though. That first half
yeah,
for St. Mike's was unbelievable. And we talked a lot about Bo Ogden, but I really came away impressed with Sun Jakal and Nolan Barkley. Those two guys were dominant in the first half. They led all of scoring in the first half. With Nolan Barkley had 12, a couple threes in there. He was probably the best player on the court that first half. He was unbelievable. And then Sun Jakal was just a good, like, just do it all guard for the Warriors. And really, like, it was a 12-point game at half. And in that first half, like, it was all St. Mike's, truly all St. Mike's. It was 24-10 after the first quarter, right? Like,
right.
the Warriors were down in that first half, and it was just unbelievable. And then you go into the second half, and 14-4 in the third quarter. 14
For
of
Parrish.
yes,
Yeah,
14-4. That's
nice.
so impressive. So impressive for them to make it a 2-point game going into the fourth. And then it was just that fourth quarter was just back and forth. Who can make plays? One team would make a giant three, and then I saw the center for St. Mike's would that like came back with it with his own big three. I forget his name. Like, it was back and forth that fourth quarter of like, okay, who can take a 1-point lead? Who can take a 1-point lead? And that's what it was. I mean, at the end of the game, it was tied. Like, it was it came down to one last hope and prayer of a shot. So I want to give flowers to Warriors in the first half, just being unbelievable. Like, I thought it was gonna be another blowout. We were gonna pack up and go. And then Parrish came back in the third quarter and was like, we're not leaving just yet. And the energy was awesome. So shout out to them. A great third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, back and forth the entire game. And that's when because I was actually I'll talk a little bit more, is like that is when your best players come to live, right? RIP. But Luca, when he was on the Mavericks, his fourth quarter was just unbelievable, right? Like, that's when he shined. Same
Dude's in
thing with
mourning, dude.
I am. I'm wearing black. You know what I mean? Like, it, and the same thing with Kai. Like, though your best players shine in the fourth quarter, right? I'll give you credit. Even Shea, even though he's not clutch most of the time, he's good in the fourth, right? Like, your best players are good in the fourth quarter, and that's when they just gave the ball to Bo Ogden. Bo Ogden, I think, started the quarter at halftime. I think it was he had six. He ended up with, I think, what, 19 or 15 or 15.
Like 6'7", like that.
Exactly.
What does that
Like,
mean?
anyways,
I don't understand.
it's from a song.
Okay.
Don't
I'm
do
gonna
I
Google
remember?
it.
Do I remember the song? No, I don't. This is a good no context club, by the way.
It
Hey,
is.
hey, no context. How's it going? Um, but anyways, I just want to shout out Bo Ogden in that fourth quarter. Teams give the ball to their best player, and that's what happened in that fourth quarter. He was just unstoppable. You give the guy who's one of the best players in the state, a top 10 player in the state in his class, the ball, and he just made it work. And as a coach, you live with that. You live and die by your best player making the big time plays, and Bo Ogden did that, man, multiple times. Big threes here and there, blocks, big rebounds. Like, it was just a very impressive game by Bo Ogden.
The lyric 6-7 is from the song Doot Doot by Skrilla featuring G Herbo. Time
Yes.
has passed me by.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
No, you're good. Oh, don't act like you don't know who G Herbo is, bro. All right.
G
Exactly.
Herbo I recognize. I don't know what Skrilla is, and I don't know what a Doot Doot is.
Okay, that's okay. Let's just we got a lot more to discuss, and by a lot more,
Did
I
we
mean
really?
our dynasty that we need to get into at the end of this. But we've already talked about all of these guys. For those who don't know, Texas Private School has an insane amount of basketball talent this year. As the guys we just mentioned, Nigel Walls being ranked ninth in the state, a 4-star going to SMU. Reese Alston being the sophomore, ranked fifth in the state at the moment. Definitely, knocking on the door of a 5-star as well. He's listed as a 4-star at the moment. Bo Ogden, another 4-star in that junior class at the moment, ranked another guy that's ranked fifth in the state. Sebastian William Adams, like we already mentioned, is the Auburn commit this 2025, who's absolutely incredible. Another 4-star, or maybe even actually, I don't know. Yeah, 4-star at Houston St. John's. Dawson Battier is another sophomore that's actually ranked, I think, one spot higher than Reese is, or maybe 2 spots higher than Reese, and he's probably knocking on the door of a 5-star. He's ranked 13th nationally in the country, and he's a sophomore at St. Mark's. Luke Lakozowski is going somewhere as well. His brother was just. We'd like to argue the fact that Texas private school basketball is at a peak right now, and it has been for the past 5 to 10 years, right? This is truly where UIL is in competition with basketball because at the football level, it's not really that close, right? A lot of these football teams are going to smack probably a lot of the private school teams that we have. Um, Regarding 2022 Parish, not that team, but what's it called? Overall, there is a lot of parity between, or not, parity is the wrong word. I've used that a lot this episode. There's a lot of similarities, and almost you could see that most of the private schools are on the same level as the UIL schools in the basketball sense. Do we need to have the conversation that there's more talent in basketball than there is in football in TXPS?
Yeah, there's absolutely more talent.
Yeah.
Talent. It's not a
Yeah.
question. Really.
No.
Because I was mapping it out today, and I was like, okay, just the guys off the top of my head that are like blue chip. Like, let me see where they're ranked in Texas. Sorry, Anderson was 244, Jalen Powell's 136, Cooper Witten's number 4, so he's up there. Quinn Murphy's
yeah.
number 112, Dalton Knapp's number 232. Wayne Shanks is a 4-star and not ranked, but he'll probably be top 100 in the state, maybe. But yeah,
Top 1.
top 150. Walker would know that better than me.
No, he'll be top 100. No, I'll
There
give
we
it to you
go.
there.
But
There's
yeah, I
some more-
mean, we say that, and then we look at basketball, and just off the rip, we saw 3 guys at state that are top 10 in the state, and then there's 3 more off rip. I mean, it's crazy.
It is hard to argue though, 22 guys on a field versus 5
Yeah.
guys, right? Like you have
Right.
you have 22 positions in football, you have 5 positions in basketball, right? So like I do want to argue that the numbers will be inflated, but from a 3-star and 4-star sense, there is a lot of top end talent. And then obviously, like we just said, from a UIL, the TAPPS perspective, it's very, very similar TXPS and UIL. It's very, very similar in the basketball spectrum. But all that to say, I mean, the only problem is in basketball versus football are these prep schools. They just take everyone as they're getting to their older years.
Mhm.
Not to say guys like Dawson Battier and Reese Alston won't stick around, but we have seen time and time again these sophomore stars go off to these prep schools. But we've also seen Sebastian William Adams stay at St. John's and go the whole time with St. John's. They didn't even make the state championship this year. He is just rode with them this entire time. And I think that says a lot about him. Because it's all about summer. It's all about JL3.
It's like the old the RJ Hampton? Is that the name that like stayed at Lil Elm for all those years and all that?
Even when his teammate left to go play in Minnesota too.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we can move into the end of the episode. Not to get to too much. I did want to give one shout out before we talk about this last thing. I went to sitting before the Prestonwood men's basketball or boys basketball game against JP2. I did get to catch the end of this girls basketball game for the Prestonwood, who ended up winning state in 6A. I know we didn't do enough. We didn't do really any girls coverage. If you wanted to look at some of the girls coverage we did this year, TXPS basketball, shout out to Jacob. He actually did some coverage of girls basketball this year, but just wanted to hit on Prestonwood this year. Absolutely dominant. I mean, I'm telling you, that's probably one of the best high school girls basketball teams I've ever seen play. My aunt is a high level coach of girls high school basketball in North Carolina, which is one of the best high school girls basketball metro areas, public school areas, and stuff like that. I'm telling you, this team I saw, they're just elite players, very, very elite, very, very well coached. I like the young coach. I don't remember his name at Prestonwood, but just shout out to them. That was a huge win. Second in program history, according to the Dallas News article that I read earlier. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Just wanted to shout out Prestonwood girls team for how dominant they looked. But yeah, I think we got one more thing on the slate that we've been meaning to talk about during this entire coaching arc season. The TXPS media empire. I think can we figure out a way for us to maybe, does any school, and I'll ask this too, any school interested in hiring TXPS media for being the coaching spectrum of your football team? Wes, you go over it.
This came to me like a bolt of lightning in the last 2 minutes when I saw us at the end of the script. We're not taking over any one school.
Okay.
What we're doing, and everyone save your reactions until the end of the presentation. We are establishing a school in Tyler, Texas, and my friends and I have had this plan for a decade, I swear. We are consolidating all of the, 3A, 4A, 5, because there's no 6A school in Tyler. There's a bunch of like 4A, 5A ones, consolidating all of them. And then East Texas is Beast Texas. There's a ton of good prospects that come out of there. We turn recruiting up to 100. If TAPPS isn't going to enforce the recruiting in the Metroplex, they have no idea what's happening in the piney woods of East Texas. It is perfect. There's a bunch of tree cover. The planes can't see what's going on in the woods. We are going to we're going to turn recruiting up to 1 million. We're going into Gilmer. We're going into Gladewater.
Wow.
We're going into Palestine. We're going to Jacksonville. We're going into any surrounding area, and it's going to be the greatest program I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But then they,
we
out there for a
we have
second.
to live in Tyler though.
Yeah, that's
What do
rough.
you mean you have to live in Tyler? Oh yeah, dude, I love driving an hour to work every day. I love Metroplex traffic. It's awesome.
No, we're okay. I mean, I guess we'd be the head of a school, so it really wouldn't matter that much. But okay. But we've talked about this though, right? We've talked about how it would work. Obviously, someone like myself having no football background, I would probably have to be on a different side of things. As according to Walker, one of the most important positions on a staff is recruiting coordinator. It's actually a coordinator position according to Walker. And I will say maybe I should take up the recruiting coordinator's perspective. And maybe I'll take up that. No.
We need somebody that's done this before.
All right, then fine. Then I'll go be a head coach then. Is that what you want?
I don't know. Listen.
See,
We
I
are
have
the
no
puppet
place on this
masters of all of
organization,
this.
and that's what the problem is. Am I the AD?
You're the head of media.
Yeah, you're a
Oh my god! What a
no. Listen to me. Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, you go to the tape, boy.
Ryan, shut up. Ryan, shut up. Listen to me. I was going to say, if you look around the environment, the biggest schools are investing the most in the media because that's what the kids see. That's what the kids want to go. Dude, I swear to you.
Yeah, hey, help the student interns out and help them move the camera left to right.
Can you quit being a baby for 5 seconds?
Look, with help of recruiting and getting kids on campus, we need a great media coordinator. We need the Liberties of the world with their whole media team. We need
I'm saying that's all of us. I feel like we all help in that spectrum. Are we hiring out then? Are we hiring out coaches?
Yes.
Dude, what?
I'm not an offensive coordinator. Wes, are you going to be the OC?
No, you could be.
I have to go and
Wes
my
wants to be a wide
playbooks.
receivers coach. I think Wes wants to be a wide receivers coach.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
I'll do O-line, sure. Why not?
Cool. And then I'll be the kickers coach because
I was going to say kickers.
There's a lot.
That's great.
To be done in that area.
That's great. Look, I would say
no. You're going to be a kickers coach, but like it's going to be some kind of spec ops thing. Like you're going to train them to poison the other team's Gatorade.
Oh my gosh, dude! I'm
not deadly poison. Just make them sick enough they can't play.
I'm gonna get the Australian kids off, dude. Recruiting. We're gonna get the Australian kids. They're gonna come in and they're gonna go punt and kick.
No, that's the thing is, among all of this great conglomeration, we're taking Brook Hill's boarding school.
That's what I was about to say.
Oh my.
But the thing is, no good players ever come out of there, except for Tobias Braun, and I can't even say Konstantin Krasser because he was terrible.
Because he's, man, I can't shut out no context.
Dude,
look. I think of it
like
I think it would be absolutely like okay. I think we would all have a position role, and then I think we would need to hire like a raw guy. I think you would as our head coach, and then you just get the two best coordinators in the country in TXPS and just let them have it. Like that's how I would do it. Oh, this is what I would do. I would do this. I would have a limited budget in this scenario. I would have Nathan Larned coach our defense, and he would have the best defense in all of TXPS because what he did at Kincaid is impressive. He'll do it here. Yeah. OC, it would just be Novikov. He would just run our offense. He would just be there and do his thing. He would be our offensive coordinator. And you have to have as the head coaching position, you want the staple. You have to go Jason Wynn because
absolutely not. I need a head coach that I can intimidate. I need to be able to pull this. I can't intimidate Jason Wynn. He's a mountain.
That's okay.
Or an NFL tight end, start NFL tight. What if we got Coach LaVorne? Coach LaVorne is already on TXPS Ryan advocating for me. I think that would go good for me to have advocation in the kicking department. So anyone else agree? I think this could be a really
Well,
good
I don't know.
squad.
He likes you too much. That's the problem.
Mm.
That's a good
No,
point.
I would be.
We
I'd
can't have
just
that.
be-
We can't have
Oh,
that.
he doesn't
I'd be
like
so
you.
down. I'd be
Yeah.
so down with LeVorn as a head coach. He's young. He's energetic. He's got kind of like a we're gonna go out. We're gonna beat you mentality. I think that'd be
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
We get D-Rob as
right.
well.
So Wes, you'd be fired from receivers. I'm sorry, D-Rob will take over. So
No. Me and D-Rob can work something out.
okay, you'll be the grad assistant for D-Rob. That's basically
just
what your
take
role
Coach
would
Black
I'll
be.
just
too?
move to safeties. No, I said move to safeties. He'll bring Coach Wade over. Coach Wade will coach safety. I'll be pass game coordinator.
Well, you're forgetting
Awesome.
we're bringing Coach Black in too, because now we can bring
Yeah.
him in.
Coach Black's
For-
our offensive line coach.
Oh yeah, so we're
I-
firing.
I'm
firing
fired.
Walker.
I'm fired
Yep,
too.
Firing Walker, Coach Black comes
Yep.
in. Yep.
And
Who's
then
the
okay,
OC?
okay,
This is
we're
a
going.
TXPS
And no
powerhouse.
Coach
We're going by position. Okay, then I would do RAP, but I would do Phil Dawson as the special teams guy, or I would have done Coach Riley because he coaches all the special teams guys, or
Yeah, or me.
or you, or
No, we
whoever
fired you
coaches,
from that too.
or whoever coaches the Prestonwood kickers every year. Whatever you do, you find a way.
Riley coaches doers.
Okay, then yeah, Coach Riley would be your special teams guys. I would have Coach Roby being special secondary plus a recruiting coordinator. I would have
You're the recruiting coordinator. I don't understand any of
I
these
would be
anymore.
if
We've
I don't
Are we
changed this
not?
like
Are we
13
just
times.
we're leaving the school. We're leaving the school at this point. We have no power.
Look,
We're heads
are
of school. We're
we're
heads
head-
of school.
Yeah, that's
we're,
it.
we're the general managers of this team. That's what we
Yeah.
are. So I would have them. I would
Yeah,
have
Taps did
we're
not like that
three-
you just said that. Taps did
We're
not like
three-way
that.
general managers.
So then you would have okay. Let me think about this. Let me think.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you're thinking somebody's
okay.
got to be head of school, somebody's got to be principal, and I don't know what the third
Okay,
thing's
then
gonna be.
y'all think about that. I'll think about the coaching. I would
I
think
don't
either.
wanna be involved
I would
with
think.
this school.
Trench Warfare, the guy who D-line for First Baptist that coaches Corey Thomas. I would do him, or I would do Broderick Sublett from Bishop Lynch. I would do one of
We
them.
got absolutely no. Sublet's got to be on roster as a vibe
Okay.
guy, no matter what.
I agree there. Oh, for quarterbacks coach, I would do JP Tillman over there at
Yeah.
Houston Christian at quarterbacks coach, or I would do Foster Sawyer. Ooh, I forgot special teams. I would do the kid that coach from All Saints. That
Oh yeah,
Jonathan Song, is that his name? That
Yeah,
coach that
I think.
TCU. That whole coaching staff at All Saints is pretty epic, honestly.
we gotta have Beck on there somewhere.
Yeah.
Beck would be our associate GM. Like he would be the underneath us and would just basically control everything.
This is
Like,
the craziest. I don't even understand. No one would.
I'm guessing
We've got to draw out an org chart.
Dude,
So-
23 guys 25 and under are running a school, and they have all these legendary coaches underneath them
Look.
running this team.
look,
They didn't make
that's the best
TSPS
GM.
media.
That's the best GM role, right? You get the best people. Howie Roseman for the Eagles just says, "I'll get the best people out there and I'll just chillax." Like, you got to get the best people, and that's what we're doing.
I heard Jack Klosek's going to be our New York representative as well. He'll be up from afar.
he would be our
Jack
head.
Klosek's our lobbyist. He's gonna go up and just he's gonna go and get the money we need to recruit these people.
No, that's a dynasty. I think we've made a dynasty from
Yeah.
scratch. It's almost
I
like
don't-
this podcast.
And I cannot overstate how much we will recruit. Like we're not even gonna hide it because there's all of the schools have been like, we're doing this in front of all of your faces and nobody will do anything about it. We are going to turn that on its head. I watched DC do this for 6 years of football and was so tired we never did anything. We will recruit from Paris, Texas. We will go everywhere.
We're gonna do the TCCH approach of Shadur Sanders putting on his IG story and of like, who wants to come by? That's gonna be us. That's gonna. If you want to
That'll
come,
be me. That won't even be the players. That'll be me. I'll just be like in the coach's office with my feet up, being like, "Hey, who's coming to Brooke Grace? Who's coming to TK Brooke Grace?"
so
How are we going to combine the mascots all into one three-headed monster
A
that is
cougar, a guard, and a crusader. It's a cougar head on a crusader with a shield. I don't know.
boom,
Yeah.
got it. But yeah, it would be the best TXPS staff that you could do all in one. Plus, you would have. Oh no, so yeah, I would do that, and then recruiting. it would be max 300.
Yeah, we're paying all of our players too. I mean, we're gonna pay. We're gonna pay all of them.
Because
Yeah, actually,
we're
that is how we'll
housing
take it to
them.
the next
We're-
level.
We're housing them too. Like that's the other thing.
Yeah,
We're paying for
we're putting
housing.
them in the oil palace. Y'all don't even know what the oil palace is.
No, I don't.
What
But
could that possibly
because-
be?
because
That
it's-
sounds awful.
I think the Manziels own it. I think they still
So, look,
Oh
because we're in
gosh.
TXPS, we're going to be so connected to the government. We're going to establish NIL in the state of Texas, and we're going to open that up, get it approved, and we're going to be the first ones on the scene with NIL, and it's going to be awesome. And so we're going to basically win as many championships as we want. So I'm really excited to see how much we keep this in, how crazy this thing was. I think we both all walked into this being like, oh, this segment was going to be much more like precise and like, well, we're going to talk about a few things. And then we just went absolutely bonkers.
Should we play six man? I think that would be the other next level thing
Ooh.
that we could do is play six man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think the way this works is like two of us take the 11-man team and one person takes a 6-man. No, I think it'd be so much funnier if we focused all this effort in making a 6-man team and just like literally making it the greatest 6-man team that has ever existed.
Dude, fastest team on grass. We are
The
literally the best.
fastest game on grass. Oh my
All right,
gosh.
Wes, I think it's time to get out of here, man.
I do think it's time to get out of here. That is bar none my favorite segment we have ever recorded, and that'll cap off. We all got on to record at 7. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes since then. Probably about an hour 45 of content. Walker, you have fun editing this.
I won't.
But yeah, no, that has been basketball and coaching carousel and player carousel and recruiting and the TXPS media empire. As always, thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or just general anger, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, I guess that's X now, and YouTube. Feel free to drop us a line. As always, I've been 1/3 of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson. Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder have exuberantly been themselves. We will see you in the next episode. See you later.